thoughts on Ryan winning Defensive Player of the Year?
Obviously well-deserved, I think. We were from an analytical standpoint, the best defense in the Big East, and he's a big reason why. In a year where I don't think he's been totally himself. He's continued to get back in the flow and impacting the game in a lot of different ways on both ends of the floor, but especially his ability to protect the rim. And then part of it is that he protects the rim, part of it is the threat of him protecting the rim that keeps people away from there.
When you process this particular season, this particular campaign, what stands out to you when you see how he was able to put together through the offseason recovery from the knee injury, from the illness in November, December? Those are two setbacks that probably hindered development. Why do you think he was able to pull it?
Yeah. First of all, I think last year, I think we surprised everybody late in the year, and I think people probably looked at our team and was like, how are they winning? Because we weren't really scoring, we weren't really shooting it at a high clip. And then when you dug deep into it, you saw that a big reason was defensively and what Ryan was doing on the back of that defense. And I think the plan was to build on that. Obviously, the knee injury slowed him down for 3 months, and then he gets sick and played sick for probably a week or two and then had to sit 10, 11 days. And you just don't come back from that right away. It takes some time. And to his credit, and Jeremy Anderson, our strength coach, Ben McNair, our athletic trainer, they did a really good job of putting a plan together to kind of gradually get him back in shape and get back to the point where he can play these big minutes and be effective while he's out there. And also credit to Ryan's work ethic. Some of those early workouts weren't probably the best and most fun, when you're coming off an illness like he had.
On that note, back, what can you tell us just about the work ethic that you've seen from Ryan since he got here and just his growth to be able to now be a back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year?
I mean, when you think back to when he was a freshman, he could play about 2 minutes before he was tired. And, what he's done with his conditioning and his stamina to get to the point where he hardly comes out of the game is a credit to what he's done and how he's attacked it. He's all along the way, he's just been a blast to coach. He's a lot of fun to be around on a daily basis. He's about all the right things, and it's a coach's dream in that regard.
Talk a little bit about anticipation and knowing where to be in terms of the game plan. How much of that plays a role into how successful he's been on the defensive side? Besides being taller, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, he's been blessed with some innate ability to understand angles, understand when to leave the floor, when not to leave the floor, to do it all without fouling, although he's reminded me he's had back-to-back games with foul trouble, and I don't really like that much, so I'd like to have him get away from that. But it's really been incredible, what he's been able to do. And, he studies the scouting report, and, different games call for different things in our ball screen coverage, or depending on what the strengths of their front line players are. You don't have to worry about him remembering where he's supposed to be. He's going to have that scouting report locked in, and is going to be very on point to what his responsibilities are.
I know coaches cringe at this question. Been in this game a long time. Where does he fall in terms of rim protectors you've seen coached against? Like, how good is he?
He's one of the best I've ever been around or ever coached against, simply because of you can't get him off his feet every play. A lot of shot blockers, if you get in there, you can get them up in the air. And now their team is at a disadvantage. And you can get them in foul trouble generally, guys that are going to leave their feet a lot. And it's a skill that's very difficult to teach, because you want to put pressure on blocking those shots. But some guys you don't have to leave your feet to change a shot or to even get a piece of it. So his ability to do that has been incredible. And he's always had that. We saw it when we watched him play in high school, and you wonder how quickly is it going to translate to this level. And fortunately for us, it translated pretty quick.
What's the confidence level you have in your bench right now, and just how big a factor on the bench maybe this month?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's really important with the potential of 3 games in 3 days in New York. You know, you need that depth to get through a scenario like that, and they've been playing better. You know, Sharif has played really well. Francisco, I think, is now back in shape and 100%. Mason's continued to give us good minutes, and then Fred was a lifesaver the other night at DePaul when Kalk got into foul trouble. So they've all had their moments, and it's a difficult situation to be in because they don't really know when their number is going to be called. They don't know when in the game and how much exactly. The game really dictates that. But they've all done a terrific job, and they've been a big reason that we were able to go 7-3 in our last 10 games.
Two more. I know DePaul and Georgetown are kind of bottom of the league in defense, but what have you seen the last 2 games that looks like what you want to see offensively as opposed to maybe the 3 or 4 games where it wasn't as good?
I would say our pace to start with. Villanova, we didn't get any stops. So when you don't get stops, you can't get out in transition. And that allowed them to set up their 3-quarter court pressure and really take us out of our rhythm offensively. So, I mean, that all starts with getting stops. Without a good defense, you can't be a good transition offensive team. So we got back to that, especially the Georgetown game. The first half of the DePaul game, we were out in space a lot. The second half of the DePaul game, they scored a lot, and fortunately we scored with them. But it wasn't because we were in transition, because we were taking it out of the net. So it's going to be important in New York that we run together some stops and we control the defensive glass. And if we can do that, it allows us to get out and do what we do.
Part 2 is talking about the excitement of getting to this part of the season, playing in the Garden. Of course, you didn't play last year, but just generally, can you sense the excitement?
I mean, I haven't had them in practice yet since we got back from DePaul, but it's always you're turning the page to a new season, and it's now you're in a situation in 2 tournaments where it's one and done. So there is no tomorrow. So your ability to be on point with your details is really important, and our preparation these next 3 days is going to be really critical. We have a little time to work on ourselves today while we work on our potential opponents, and you don't get that very often this time of year. So it'll be nice to have that, but and it's spring break, so they're out of class this week. It's I think they're feeling pretty good, and at least they're feeling good till the whistle blows the start of practice. Maybe that'll change then.
Thanks, Coach.
It's definitely a big honor, man, just kind of seeing your work pay off. But at the end of the day, Big East all team is cool, but I want to win a tournament.
What other Big East tournament title would you guys?
I mean, that'd be like the first step in reaching our goals, man. Obviously, we want to win a national championship. The first step is winning a Big East championship, and that's something that came up a little short my first 2 years here, so I'd love to get the job done this time.
Would you mind, I know it's not the time of the year for that, but would you mind reflecting on what winning Defensive Player of the Year back-to-back years means to you through the lens of what you thought was possible when you first put this jersey on?
I mean, that's when I first got here. I wasn't expecting too much, just kind of put my head down and work and see where it takes me. And it's been kind of crazy, just last year, the big step I took, and then continuing to take a step this year has been kind of crazy. And I don't think it's what I would have imagined when I first got here, is because I didn't want to get too ahead of myself, but it's definitely a great spot to be in for me.
Brian, what was your first reaction when you found out that you won it again?
I didn't know I won it because I don't really go on social media. I was eating breakfast, and one of my managers came up to me and said congratulations, and I was like, what for? So I didn't really know until he came up and told me, but it was definitely cool.
Do you know what kind of company you're in terms of big money where I've won it multiple times in this season?
Isn't it like Dikembe Mutombo at Georgetown? Is there someone else?
Viewing, morning.
Oh yeah.
Those kind of guys.
Yeah, it was a pretty good list.
How does it feel to join them?
I mean, those are all-time great basketball players. To be in the same list as them is pretty incredible. Big honor.
What do you think makes you unique as a defender? I mean, a lot of guys your size affect things, but not everybody wins an award like this. So there's something about you that's a little different, right?
I mean, obviously, I'm not the most athletic person in the world. I think one thing Mac challenged me with a lot last year was just being more vocal, and last year I got a lot better at that. I think that's probably one big thing that I still need to continue to get better at, but that's one thing that I take a little bit of pride in, is being more talkative and being directing traffic on defense.
last year. This. Go ahead, Ellie.
I was just saying, getting so close to winning the Big East tournament last year, how much does that kind of stick in your mind going into this tournament at all?
It just makes you want to even more. I mean, you would almost rather not be that close than be that close sometimes as a competitor. But when you get that close to winning, and you're like, man, I really want that. It makes you work harder for it this year. So, man, that's all I want to get this year, just win the tournament.
Something like last year at this point, there was more doubt about what you guys could do as a team going out there, and that seemed to provide some kind of edge for you guys to harness. How do you do that this year?
I still think we have a little bit of that because I don't think we obviously had a really good regular season, but I think we have more to give than that. I think we can be better than what we played in the regular season. I think we just want to go show that.
Two more for Ryan.
How much being a good defender is tied to anticipation, kind of knowing what's coming?
I think a lot of it's that, and it's just more of like knowing where to be, like having a good understanding of our defensive principles and knowing how our defense works, is kind of being smart and being in the right places, because sometimes the block isn't always the play that saves a possession. Sometimes it's having your hand in the passing lane and not even letting the pass get through in the first place. And it's just kind of part of it's having that physical gift of being athletic and long and tall and all that, and part of it's just being a smart basketball player.
Ryan, you guys obviously don't know who you're going to be opening up yet against in the tournament, though, but just the thoughts on if you draw either Villanova or Georgetown. Just
I don't know. I don't think it really matters. I think we're going to go in there with the same intensity that no matter who the opponent is, it's a Big East tournament. It's no team to take lightly at this time of the year. You got to go in there ready to play a game. So I don't really care who we get. We just play who we play.
Ryan, how much different do you feel going into this Big East tournament just with having gone through it last season?
I didn't play last year, but I think we're just confident. We've been here before. We experienced it last year. We obviously got to the finals last year, and that just gives you a lot of experience, especially in an important tournament like this. So I think we're just a little more experienced, a little more ready for the big stage, and we're excited.
At the same time, you guys did play pretty well on that stage in your first experience last year.
Yeah.
Why do you think you were able to harness more of the good than the bad in terms of the jitters and the nerves and just play basketball?
Because I think last year we were just super locked in at that time. We were playing our best basketball. We were super motivated. I think the team wanted to prove a lot of people wrong that didn't think we could do some of those things that we did last year. So we were just very motivated, and we're just as motivated this year. So.
What would a Big East tournament title mean? You guys were the league favorites and finished third.
Right.
What would the tournament title mean?
It'll mean a lot for us. Obviously, like you said, we didn't get the regular season championship, so this is another one of our goals, and we're looking forward to get that one. And I think it will be our first one in school history, so that's obviously big, and that's what we're gunning for.
Something about playing there that you enjoy? Does that add a little bit to the experience playing in the dark?
Yeah, big stage, big lights, bright lights, one of the greatest arenas in the world. So, I mean, if you're not excited in a building like that, I don't know, there's probably something wrong with you. So, we're just excited for that big stage. A lot of people watching, a lot of eyes on you, and good college basketball game. So we're looking forward to it.
I know Georgetown and DePaul are kind of at the bottom of the league in defense this year, but what are these last 2 games done for you guys? What have you taken away from the offensive performance that I feel like translates regardless of what?
Yeah, I think seeing the ball go through the rim is always good. Good for your confidence. Yeah, like you said, they might not be the greatest defensive teams, but it's good to see the ball go through the hoop. Good to have some confidence going into this tournament. Yeah, we're just looking forward to it.
Ryan, on the note of not getting to play in the tournament last year, just how excited are you for the opportunity this season, and just kind of what do you remember from being able to kind of sit back and watch it all last year?
Right. Yeah, I'm super excited. It sucked that I couldn't get a chance to play in it last year, but I'm super excited for postseason play, whether it's March Madness or this tournament. Bright lights, my fam's going to be there, and it's just a time of the year you want to play your best basketball, so I'm looking forward to it.
One more for him.
After that Trey heater against Georgetown.
Yeah.
And I remember Faulkner earlier in the year talking about it as well. Like, they've had moments where they've scored big buckets, and when we've asked them about it, they've mentioned the plays you've done the second month ago. It's reflected credit to you. I know you're confident in your abilities, but as a young player, like, how does that make you feel to know your guys kind of appreciate what you're able to do in terms of shot creation for others?
Yeah, it's great when you have teammates like that who will kind of give you some of the credit on their big nights. I would like to give more credit to them for just always being on top of their work, knowing what they need to do, and it's easy for me when you have guys like that who could just put the ball on the rim. So it makes my job a lot easier having great players that could do things with the ball like them. So it's great. It's great.